we're gonna get rolling here. So everybody should have their homework written in their plan book. If you don't, make that happen right now. Now I'm gonna announce this now because I'm not going to announce it tomorrow. Your mastery follow-up is due tomorrow. It is already on the assignment slide for tomorrow, like this slide, the start slide, that says turn in your follow-up right now. I am not going to make a big thing about like telling you that again tomorrow because it should be in your plan book, it should be in your brain, it should be a priority, and we as a grade need to get better at being able to manage ourselves. So if you have it done today, you can turn it in whenever to my bin. But if you just have it done and ready to turn in tomorrow, then you'll obviously want to do that. I'm not going to make some big announcement thing. And if you don't turn it in, it'll just be missing. So it'll go into math as missing, and then we'll figure it out later. If you turned in other homework revision type stuff, that is what is coming back right now. So, Aiden, what was your question from homework 2?
So, I'm sorry for not asking yesterday, but I have a question from 3 by 2. I really did not understand 3-109. It was very confusing to me. No, not 3-109, sorry. 3 dash, wait, hold on. Was that yeah, it was 3-11.
So this is going to come back to keep, change, flip. Unless there was a specific part of this you didn't understand. So like I'll grab C for example. We have fraction. Smart ink is not working this morning. We have a fraction divided by a fraction. Now, the actual issue with C is that -4 divided by 0 doesn't mean anything. It's actually impossible. So, forget about the negative for a minute. Hey, your attention should be up here. Books should be open, notes should be ready to go, and if not, you should be getting to that point. Take 4 divided by 0. Okay, forget about the negative for a minute. If I have 4 pizzas, and I want to divide them to 0 people, I already have the 4, I am one person, right? How do I divide 4 pizzas to 0 people? I just like drop them and run away. No, like it doesn't make any sense, right? 4 of something divided into 0 groups, it's already a group. If I break it apart, I can make more groups, but I can't make 0. So this actually doesn't make sense. So if you know that division by 0 can't happen, then you can actually put no solution for that one. But you can also just multiply. So if we look at D, where it does make sense and this fraction can happen, first thing we would do, Aiden, is make this improper. So -2/3 divided by -5/4. Then we apply keep, change, flip. Right? So we're going to keep our first, change. Yeah, so this is going to become -2/3 times 4 over -5. Really, all you need to analyze is if I have 2 negatives involved in the multiplication, my answer will be positive, right? Then we go straight through the top. 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 5 is 15. I don't need to write that plus, so I can just say my answer is 8/15. Saying positive 8/15 is just kind of redundant. Ethan?
So, originally, for D, the negative sign is in front of them, like in front of the whole fraction, so why did you put it on the...
Because it doesn't matter where it goes.
Ah.
So, if the negative's in the numerator or the denominator or out front, it's the same. So whether I have like a debt of $15 split into 3 groups, that would be like out front, or my debt of 15 split into 3, like it doesn't change anything. Where the negative, as long as there's still only 1, right? So there was 1 out front, then I put the 1 negative up on the numerator, then it moved into the denominator and it actually doesn't change anything.
Would you mind if you reviewed the 7, or would you like having to do it?
I mean, we Biggest thing is like that one is one where it's like creative, kind of trying to get you to just see what you think. Wait, 107 or 109?
107.
So standard algorithm for division is like set up the long division or like set up a stack division or something like that. You can actually think this one through because you can think money, right? So $15.75 divided by a quarter, like how many quarters would you have? But then the giant one technique, that's getting you to understand the keep, change, flip. So I have 15.75, which is actually like, we could make it a mixed number, but then my denominator is 25 hundredths. And what we did in class the other day briefly is we looked at if I multiply by 100 over 25, this is just your keep, change, flip. Because the bottom, your denominator turns into 1. So all you're doing is the numerator, which is your keep, change, flip. So when it talks about using a giant 1, it's just keep, change, flip. Yeah. The strategy they teach you, like how we get to that point, is that multiplication of the fraction over itself, which again is just a giant 1, because anything over itself is just 1. You Mr. Smith for today?
That's me.
We didn't know there was even going to be a sub. What's your name?
Mr. Lawrence.
Mr. Lawrence. You got Mr. Lawrence helping us out.
Yeah.
He in this class, we just kind of, he helps when needed, but aside from that, he's just kind of hanging out and whatever else. So as we release him to work on problems, like if you want to help me walk around and take questions, that's awesome. Other homework problems from 3 through 2. Other issues from 3 through 2. Going once. Going twice. Sold. All right, so we made it down to, did we get done with A yesterday on 115? Somebody flipped to yesterday's notes. See how far we made it. I know we started 115.
We started. We finished 115.
Did we do B?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, so the other class did not. That's why I was confused. So let's look at Maria and George here. I should make that go away because you don't want to see grades. All right, so actually I'm going to pull this back down for a second. All right, so yeah, George with a J, or Jorge, or however you want to say it. So check it out. Give me your attention up here for just a moment. Then I'll release you guys to talk to your group. So we have 3 fractions here. Actually, let's take volunteers. Anyone, like, what sticks out to you? What do you notice immediately when you look at this problem? Jalen?
The fraction in parentheses at the top, they're basically the same except one is split.
Ooh. So I got -4 thirds and -3 fourths. I hate when the screen is, splitting my number right now. Rewriting 1 and 2/5. Be careful if that is one combined number. It's just splitting it in a weird place. All right. I like it. Those fractions are essentially reciprocals of each other. What else does somebody notice? Yeah. It's a lot of parentheses. Well, there's really only parentheses around the negatives. So I'll give you that. There's 2 different sets. So we don't notice anything else. Let's just try. Ooh, Ava.
That we're probably gonna have to do keep, change, flip.
When do we do keep, change, flip? What is it like a solution to?
Don't we do it when we do this?
I'm not sure. When do we do keep, change, flip? Oh, okay, I'll come back to you. Yeah, so somebody said it. When there's division, we end up doing our keep, change, flip because we don't like division. Is there division up here? No, it's already multiplication. So Nathan, what were you going to say? Ooh, and how many of those do we have? How many negatives do we see? There's not 4 of them. If we just look at like this being the problem that we're starting with, so they made this improper. But how many negative values do we have? 2 different numbers, right, that are negative. We have a negative here, and we have a negative here. So go ahead and solve this with your group. Write that down. Write down the well, you can write down the one with the improper. We can call this our original for this time. Go and write that down, -4/3. And we like putting it in parentheses because that keeps things clean. Times 7/5 times a -3/4. Take a moment on your own and then talk with the group. Nathan pointed out our two negatives. Think about what that does for us. Ava reminded us that we don't need to keep change flip because we have multiplication already.
Am I gonna have to redo my homework?
That was scary. Not necessarily. Come work with me so we can fix whatever you're doing, but we don't necessarily need you to redo the whole thing. But
Because I did read change flip with.
if it started with division, you should have done keep change flip.
I did
So,
it with multiple.
like, are you talking about last night's? The few problems from this one that we've done? So I'm going to freeze that so I can pull this up onto the TV. So Ava, if you're talking about like 25 here, this starts with division. So we do need to then keep change flip.
Oh, then I don't have to redo it.
Right, but the problem we're doing right now doesn't start with division, it starts with multiplication.
Okay.
What are we feeling with those two negatives? How do we multiply with a fraction? That's up to you. We're allowed to do whatever we want, right? You could do the negative times the negative and then multiply by the positive. You could just deal with the signs first. So what? And then deal with the numbers.
Do you have
Do I have what?
Well, then where's your good study?
But I don't, never mind.
Exactly.
Where are we at, man? How long do we need to write down the original? Come on, I have to go with it.
That's the answer. No way. That's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, last year.
I don't think they taught us that
What?
in middle school. Keep change flip.
Yeah, right.
I've never seen that before.
But division by fractions doesn't really make sense. Like, it's very hard to comprehend. Like, we even did it the other day with, like, so if you have 11 slices of pizza left over, right? Like 11/8, and you want to divide it into, like, 3/8 or 5/8, or, like, however many leftover portions you're trying to take, you can kind of make sense of it that way if the denominators are the same. Like, if I have 11 slices and I want to make groups of 3,
Right.
it's really just 11 divided by 3.
Right.
So 11/8 divided by 3/8 really becomes 11 divided by 3 because the
Yeah.
8s cancel each other out. Like,
Right.
and from there we can kind of justify why it works, but it's super complicated. Just like the idea of applying why you do it, not necessarily how you do it. All right, Skylar, can you tell me what you did first here? Maybe.
So I multiplied -4/3 and -3/4.
All right, so she took these two, and what'd you get?
1.
Ooh.
12
So,
over 12.
yeah, we get 12 over 12, which Skylar says is 1.
Yeah.
Okay. And then,
Hang on. Oh wait. And then I multiplied that by 7/5.
okay.
1 over 1 multiplied by 7/5. I got 7/5.
Now, if I actually carry out this multiplication, that would be like 84 and 60 probably if I didn't take the Skylar order, which your way's better. I'm just saying if I did this. Okay, continue. Then you're done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we, and I think Jalen recognized this for us, when we have reciprocals involved in the problem, these make 1, right? This is 1. So all we have left is our 7/5, and that's our answer. Now, they did the multiplication in a different order, right? They did not follow Skylar's method. If I clear this out, who can tell me what they did first up here?
Oh, wait,
Aiden?
Oh, you mean the people there?
Yeah, what they did first.
It's black. I think what they did was multiply. I'm gonna take a guess, but I think they multiplied 7/5 times 4 times -4/3.
Ooh, close. This stays the same. So guys, this is what I was encouraging yesterday with working vertically. Right? This is what we need to start to get in the habit of, so I hope this is how you set it up today. We can see that vertically that doesn't change. So what they did first was this multiplication. And that's how they got their 21/20, which didn't work as well as Skylar's method, because this I still have to multiply. That's where we get our 84/60, which I still got to the other way, and we go 1 2/5. Are there questions on this one?
Did you capture the last thing that Skylar?
Yeah, it's sorry, this is just on the same screen. I need to slide it up onto the other one. Questions? Any others? Who can remind me what, actually we'll do random cards. We'll see if you got this. Sophia, can you remind me what that commutative property tells us we can do?
You told me this yesterday.
I know. That's why I'm reviewing if we know it. Sophia, what is the commutative property? It says George used it. Do you remember what that means, that root of that word?
Oh.
Sophia, yes, no, maybe? No? What does it mean to commute? If I am a commuter, there's actually a certain type of bicycle called a commuter bicycle.
You join.
Isaac? Move! Right? Commute means to move. So commutative property means we can move whatever we want. Now, yesterday, we talked about commutative property of addition. Did we talk about multiplication yesterday?
No.
Now, I could have volunteers come up here again. But, like I say, I could. So we're not going to do that again. We can't at the end of class or what. I'm just trying to get through stuff to give you time to work on homework. If you think about Aiden and Ava yesterday, right? 10 and 7, right? Are those who were 10 and 7, I think? What is 10 times 7? 70. What is 7 times 10? 70. So just like with addition, multiplication, order doesn't matter. And we really should already be comfortable with this. You like back when you memorized your times tables and stuff. Are you guys gonna be able to handle like sitting across from each other? So commutative property multiplication, if you need to write this down to remember it, I will give you a moment. It essentially comes down to any number times another number is the same as the reverse order. A times B is the same as B times A.
And you would like us to write this down?
If you want to. It's the same as addition, so I'm not going to say that we need to. All you need to remember is commutative property, whether it's addition or multiplication, just means move. Right? Commute means to move. If you can get that in your head, you're good.
No, don't move.
I will put it up on the TV too. Let's do that. It's smaller, but it's up on the TV. How dare I? Now, take a moment. Check out C. Check out C. Actually, because we have our guest teacher here today, can anybody, now you can't say the word, right, because it's a bad word, but can anyone tell Mr. Lawrence how we can remember this property and what it allows us to do? Riley, now I'm scared because I'm hoping you're going to stay kind of mature and kind of appropriate. How do we remember this associative property?
The first 3 letters of associative.
Yeah?
And it's like,
Tell Mr. Lawrence.
Okay, because the parentheses are like butt cheeks. So, yeah.
So what do I do with those? What does this property tell me?
So John.
You have to put the thing in the middle of it.
Yeah, that tells me I got to do it first, right? So the associative property, guys, remember, really means I can put those butt cheeks wherever I want, right? It doesn't, you put your butt all over the place every day. So, 2 times, by the way, you guys did handle this a whole lot better than the afternoon class. They lost their minds. Yeah, is what they did. So I wanted to thank you. I don't know if it's just because you're tired or if you're just more mature than them, but you handled this much better. Now here's the thing though. I bet Riley forgets a lot of the stuff I say. Which is that's a middle school thing, right? You can only fit so much in your brain. But she remembered this. So, wherever, hang on, give me a moment. What's 3 times 4? 12. 12 times 2?
24.
What is 2 times 3? 6. Times 4? Doesn't change anything. Try these 3 problems. I was going to make this a competition, but I don't know how. Try these 3 problems. C, yeah, 116. Sorry. So in 116, try these 3 problems. Well, that's life. Life gets harder and harder, doesn't it?
Mr. Hudson, I'm going to ask you a genuine question. I need a genuine response.
You guys can be talking with your teams, but you need to be working this through. What's up?
We're not going to be using this in our day-to-day life. I'm not going to. I kept perfectly
You're right. You would think. But your job might require you to make your fractions and portions and groups. What if you want a candy bar to last all week and you're going to sit There's a really easy trick to A. There's a really easy trick to A.
So are calculators forbidden for stuff like this?
They can do whatever they want. You just often try not to.
Right.
Like if we can do it without a calculator, why use one?
Right.
And actually, calculators are dangerous because it's only so smart. If I type something in wrong,
Right.
get the wrong answer. And it gives you the wrong answer sometimes.
Yeah.
Like when you square a negative and it comes out negative, like that's not right. But it's how the calculator's coded because it's right according to pure math, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, reading group. Yeah.
No, we don't. Joey thinks he has a shortcut for A. So Joey, yeah, what Joey said. You better stop talking. Joey, hit us with your knowledge. How do I make I easier?
So right, if you put a 1 under the 9, and then you can like cross cancel the 9s and make it like them 1s.
What happens when I have the same number on top and bottom? It equals 1. Right? So now what Joey said is right, but kind of a bad word these days. We in the math world are trying to stop using the word cancel because they reduce or simplify to 1. But you're right. A lot of teachers used to call that cross-canceling. So that becomes 1, that becomes 1. Those are gone, but negative. You got to be careful. The negative still impacts things. So our answer is going to be negative. And then, well, now this math is super easy. Negative 3/8. That should be your answer for I. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. You got issues. Stick up a hand.
I wish you were able to write in the
What? What's that? Yeah. We can redo that at some point if you want. I think I just Or we can just get some duct tape.
Mr. Hudson, why don't you just rewrite this?
Because they cost $74. Not if you don't pay $74 for it. You can write it. One book, $74. Plus tax. Yep, hundreds. Thousands. Hundreds of thousands, probably.
All day.
What's going on over here? I hear too much laughter.
The meat bot has entered the server.
You don't even have I written down. I hear all this laughter over here. What is going on, guys? You come downstairs. Do you have I written down?
Oh,
Dude, you don't even have what I just wrote down for I. You need to write down what I had for the first part. You need to put a box in there. Then you circle the you specify the number on top and the number on bottom. Reduce out the number. Yeah, you can just put a slash through them at the end and they're the same number. So essentially they disappear. And so those don't change anything. All we have left is the 3 on top, 3 on bottom, and there was a negative. Right, so that makes my answer negative. So that's how we got negative 3. So Jalen and Nat, that's only how you not have Can you this? Can you like weird seventh grade and say I made this choice, I didn't write this down, I'm in control of what's happening? Because you're not. Right now immediately you try to blame other people. So write down I while you're sitting there right now. Then we gotta process through. There's a great shortcut. You don't need to do that. There's a shortcut way that we can make this super easy. Because you're trying too hard. Alright, I feel bad. A lot of you are trying way too hard.
I know, it was stressful.
Do you know the shortcut? If you need one more minute, you're trying too hard.
Correct.
Yeah. Give me your eyes. I mean, I can't make you look up here, Brennan. So, when you approach a problem, you want to make it as easy as possible. Like, I don't teach math to make your life hard. Right? I'm trying to teach you strategies to make things easier. So, this problem should never have numbers go above 20. Not even above 12. Yeah, you're trying way too hard. Can anybody tell me how I can apply the associative property and put those parentheses in to make this worlds easier? Seriously, like, completely changes the problem, makes it way easier. Aiden, do you know?
What?
You had your hand up. I had asked a specific question.
So when I thought it would just like this. I just really basically because do you have to find a common denominator when multiplying? Exactly. Which people think you do. You don't. So I basically just did it straight across bottom. But obviously you're gonna.
You really want to multiply 12 by 7 and then that times 9?
Yes, it's fun.
Like it's huge.
It's a bear.
If you now, I'm not saying that's wrong, right? But I don't want to deal with big numbers. If you solve this by multiplying straight through, that's fine, but write this down again. Do me a favor, just write this down again. Just trust me. Natalie, trust me. Aiden, trust me. Then, we're going to do this. Because we just said that we can apply these parentheses the same way we did with addition. I can put them anywhere, it doesn't change the end value. Does anything happen here?
Oh yeah.
Drop it down.
Yep.
Negative 5/12 drops down. In the parentheses, and you guys will slowly start to see why I did this. Do your multiplication in your parentheses.
That's 12 over.
Okay, so I lied. The denominator does become big for a moment. Now, who can tell me how we avoid going to really big numbers? Ethan?
You throw out the 12s and just have negative 5 over 63.
Oh my god.
When we have a 12 on top and a 12 on bottom, guys, I get it. All of you have sugar coursing through your veins right now. But I need 9 minutes. That's all I need. Or we can just never have a chance to do your homework. So, however far we get today determines however far we get tomorrow. And your homework tomorrow is whatever we don't get to. So, my plan would be you don't have homework. That's why there's, like, it says chapter 3 closure, finish what we don't get done in class. If we get stuff done, we get stuff done. Otherwise, you have homework. So, I would hope at some point you would start to realize you would rather spend my class time versus your choice time. No, tomorrow is. But I was hoping that we could get to starting that so we'd have less to do tomorrow and you'd have like plenty of time. 12 on top and 12 on bottom cancel with each other. They become 1, so they really reduce, but a lot of us are stuck on the word cancel. And we get negative 5 over 63, and we can just leave that. That's it. Oh, yeah, it's less than 1. It's very small.
What?
That's not a 1, sorry, that's just a box. That's just our answer. You're done. You don't reduce it or anything.
No, he sleeps with his dad.
Hey guys, I don't know where this conversation's going, but it needs to stop. I don't know if we need to go back to the traditional everyone has their own desk, you're not looking at anybody, you don't have anybody next to you to talk to, we just have a class of desks. But I figured that regrouping us today would fix some of these issues. So, while you guys were more mature about the associative property, the afternoon class laughed at you guys. I need you to know this because I like being honest with you. I told them that you failed at choosing your own desk groups because people were making animal noises, people were singing, and they like laughed at that. They could not believe that you can't handle having your own groups. You can't even handle the groups I've made right now. I keep losing you. So what's the solution? I guess screw the class I'm trying to have. If we need to figure out what the solution is, what's the solution, Jill?
You shouldn't eat candy before coming to this class.
Okay, I'll agree with that, but I get that it's the day after Halloween. Like, I'm just trying to process through that. Like, if you're walking around with a giant bag of candy, we're going to tell you to take it back to your locker. But if you just have a little bit of candy, like, that's fine. We get it. You had Halloween last night. But that's not a solution to people not knowing how to act. I've seen plenty of kids eat a whole lot of sugar and still know how to behave. Ava?
I think it's because we think that we can get away. Like when you tell us, like I know I'm I don't know, I'm accused of doing this too. But like when you say go and you work with your groups, we don't work with our groups, we talk.
Mm-hmm. And who do you think that's impacting?
Our you? I don't know.
It doesn't impact me. I already know the math. Do I need to practice this math?
No.
No.
It impacts us.
Yeah.
Do you think you would learn better if you just had nobody to talk to about your ideas? No. There's thousands of dollars of research that says, especially kids your age, learn better when you can talk with each other about it. Yeah. I mean, that might, what if those two people still can't, I mean, it only really takes one person in a group to screw things up and be off task. Like, so I'm not saying that's a bad idea, but like, how does that fix people not knowing how to act? Yeah. So the goals of groups of 3s and 4s, or mostly 4s in here, is that if like 1 or 2 people get off task, hopefully 1 or 2 people in the group would say like, hey, we have stuff to do. Like, talk about your dog later. Like what? But apparently, like, I'm sorry for those of you that know what you're doing and know how to behave. Like, again, you're sitting through a talk you don't need to be sitting through. Yeah, so we are just heading into winter. Well, I think that you guys are one of the best classes that we've ever had, like 7th grade class. I think you're one of the best we've ever had, but I also think you're one of the youngest. Not age-wise, but behavior-wise. I don't know if things have just been like spoon-fed to you your whole life, which is an analogy, not like literally spoon-fed to you. I don't know, people just hold your hand and make sure you don't have any troubles or like, guys, we gotta straighten up. We gotta figure out how to act like a 7th grader. Because I will not have this fight all year long. Luckily we haven't had any animal noises today, but we still can't stay focused on what we're supposed to do. People don't write things down until I'm right by them. Oh yeah, we're supposed to be doing this problem now. Sorry. If you don't want to be here, like the door's there, you can go watch the video later. Like, if you don't want to be in class, don't come to class. You gotta go sit in the office or somewhere that we know where you are. But if you don't want to be in my class, don't come. All that means is one less person for us to deal with that doesn't know how to behave. But if you would like to learn, if you would like to get better at your skills, and make your life ultimately easier by understanding how to do this stuff, then I invite you to engage with us on the math. So we have like 3 or 4 minutes left. We're going to solve a couple more of these. Notice that every time we do a problem up here, I'm trying to show you the easiest way to do things. I'm not trying to give you stuff just to give you stuff, like make your life harder. Here's like 18 problems to solve just because. Like, no. We got away from that kind of teaching. Well, most of us. There's still some old school teachers that are hanging on and they just worksheets after worksheets after worksheets. That's not how you guys learn best. We're trying to help you out here. Can anyone look at triple I and tell me what's going to make that problem like ridiculously easy to solve? Kevin, we haven't talked
5 times 2.
Why the 5 times 2?
1 equals 10, and if you multiply something with the decimal times 10, it moves both numbers a place to the left.
So 5 times 2 is 10. If we apply the associative property, we technically want to do that first. We got to put it in parentheses, right? If we want that to happen first. Otherwise, we have to go left to right, according to the order of operations. And exactly what Kevin said, when we multiply something by 10, that looks weird to my smartboard. It just grabs the decimal and moves it. Now, what if it wasn't 10? What if it was like 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 or a million? How do I know how far to move the decimal? And this is something we haven't really talked about yet. Eva?
For each 0, you want to move the decimal back.
Each 0. I love it. So if we're multiplying, it goes right. If you are dividing by 10, 100, 1,000, million, whatever, it just goes left. The zeros tells you how far to go. So this becomes negative 81, super easy. Now, what we were supposed to be able to get to today was giving you guys like 10 or 15 minutes to, as a group, work on a project and then share and present to the class. But I don't think we're at that point yet, and we also don't have time left. So I'm going to put forth a challenge that tomorrow when we come to class, we're ready to learn. Right? And actually, we're not going to be learning tomorrow. We're just reviewing. Closure is just review. It's all stuff that we know how to do. There's nothing new. And if you guys come here ready to work, we got like 8 or 9 problems to get through. We can get it all done. You can go home with no homework. Or we lose control again. We're just going to go silent work time. Whatever you get done, you get done. Whatever you don't is homework. So it's up to you guys what we do tomorrow. You come here ready to work and ready to behave like a 7th grader. We'll probably get done with everything. You'll go home with no homework. See you. so I wasn't necessarily going to collect homework, but now I feel like we should. So tomorrow, I would say be ready to at least turn in all the homework from last week. So I don't know if I'll collect how much of this week's homework. I kind of got to think. I will likely, if I'm being straight up, I'll likely collect up through 332 tomorrow. So like Tuesday's homework, right? Because that was a few days ago. By tomorrow, that's like 3 days old. You should totally have that done. So I wasn't necessarily going to collect homework tomorrow, but now I think I should. Because now I'm worried that some of us don't, like, we're still not behaving like 7th graders. I mean, guys, we had people here at Discovery Day that hadn't written down stuff in their plan book in like 2 or 3 weeks. It's just a really bad choice. You're just hurting yourself. So we're out of time. Go ahead and get out of here, but I'm hoping tomorrow will be a better day. Remember where you're sitting, because we're going to be here for a little while unless we change it up again. We're having a hard time getting going with second quarter.
Yeah.
The kids.